Hello everyone, and welcome back. Get ready to dive into an exciting new adventure. Imagine waking up with memories of a past life, only to find yourself in the fierce, bloodline-ruled world of Naruto. Born as a powerless civilian kid with no clan, no special abilities, and no one to lean on, things seem impossible. But here's the twist. With a unique personal attribute panel, hard work might just be enough to rewrite destiny. So settle in and join the journey from humble beginnings to epic battles. If you're ready for more, don't forget to check out patreon.com/mv1717 for exclusive content and updates.
Part 1 of Naruto, Defying Fate with Attributes. Konoha, March of Year 42. It was a relatively peaceful time. The Second Great Ninja War had ended not long ago. After years of bloodshed, every nation was quietly licking its wounds, preparing for the inevitable day when another war would break out, and hoping to secure greater advantages when it did. On the 8th, the skies were clear and cloudless, a perfect day for a spring outing. But in front of the notice board outside the Ninja Academy, it was packed shoulder to shoulder with people. Some were hopeful examinees coming to check the results, others were their friends or family members. For some, the whole household had turned up, making quite a scene. Taking advantage of his small stature, Matsushita Taichi squeezed and weaved through the crowd until he finally made it to the front of the board. His eyes darted quickly over the posted names until, finally, he spotted his own at the very bottom of the list. Only then did the knot in his chest unwind. Although he had been confident about his exam, as an orphan who grew up in the orphanage, he couldn't help but worry whether he would be allowed to attend the Ninja Academy at all. After all, in Konoha during this period, there was always that rat in the gutter who liked to target orphanage kids, Shimura Danzo. Taichi had feared that he, too, might get snatched away into root. But now that the results were settled, he could finally feel relieved. The examination was over, all that remained was to submit his documents and go through the formalities. From what he'd heard, there had never been any mishaps at this stage. Once April 1st arrived, he would officially be a first-year student at the Ninja Academy. Thinking of this, Matsushita Taichi shifted his focus to the attribute panel in his mind, something that had appeared when he regained memories of his previous life at age 4. \Name, Matsushita Taichi Class, Civilian LV5, Max, Talent, Diligence makes up for clumsiness, your efforts will always yield results, no matter how small. For an ordinary person like you, this is the most fitting talent. Age, 6 Constitution, 7 Strength, 9 Agility, 8 Spirit, 17 Attribute Points, 4 Skill Points, 4 Skills, Basic Taijutsu LV5, 621/800, Basic Meditation LV6, 345/1000, Tip, Learn Chakra Refinement Technique. Once you generate your first chakra, you can change class to Ninja Apprentice. Evaluation, you're only a bit stronger than the average kid your age. In the ninja world, you're still trash. Even though it wasn't his first time looking at the panel, Taichi still found it fascinating every time, except for that damn, trash, evaluation. He wasn't just slightly stronger than his peers, was he? From his observation, a normal adult's attributes usually hovered around 10 points in each category. He was only 6 years old, yet most of his stats were already close to adult levels. His spirit was even at 17, thanks to the fusion of 2 lifetimes worth of memories, which was no small feat. As for the attribute points, ever since the first time he added one and felt his stamina instantly restored, he had never spent them recklessly again. These were life-saving medicine, a recovery elixir that could turn the tide in a critical moment. Besides, attributes could be improved through training, which only made the points more precious. The same logic applied to skill points. In the early stages, skills could be leveled up quickly through practice, why waste points? He might as well save them for the higher levels, where the experience requirements became monstrous. In fact, Taichi had discovered that skill points could instantly help him master the basics of a brand new technique. He remembered how basic meditation had been stuck at LV0 for ages, completely beyond him, until he spent a single skill point and shot up to LV1. With that kind of function, when he eventually got his hands on the Flying Thunder God technique, wouldn't learning it be a breeze. As for his current two skills, basic taijutsu and basic meditation, the panel indicated that they had been derived from the fusion of his 2 lives' worth of knowledge, providing him with the most suitable methods to train both body and mind. It was thanks to this mysterious panel that the newly awakened Matsushita Taichi didn't fall into confusion or despair after regaining his past life memories. In this world that devoured the weak, the panel was his confidence, his assurance that he could survive. After all, the later years of the Naruto world were dominated by the rule of bloodlines. If you didn't have a powerful ancestor, you were destined to be nothing more than trash among trash. But the panel gave Taichi the means, and the confidence, to defy that fate. And his talent, diligence makes up for clumsiness, was like a booster on top of that confidence. What was the most terrifying thing for a person? To put in the effort, and receive nothing in return. Especially when you were stuck at a bottleneck, unable to improve for years, even over a decade, that was enough to make anyone want to give up entirely. For someone without a prestigious bloodline, this talent was the perfect gift. But of course, the panel alone wasn't enough. Everything Taichi had achieved so far came from his own sweat and training. If all it took to be invincible was spending points, then sure, maybe he could reach Kage level before running out. But what about above that? There was still Super Kage level, and the 6 Paths level. The only reason he was able to train without interruption at such a young age was because of one person, the kind-hearted director of the orphanage, Yakushi Nono. The orphanage didn't have much funding and couldn't fully support Taichi's intense training. But that didn't stop Nono. Her medical ninjutsu could compensate for the lack of expensive medicines, and whenever Taichi pushed himself too far, she was there to heal him. Just thinking about that gentle and beautiful older sister warmed Taichi's heart. But then he remembered, Nono was also a member of Root. And the thought of Danzo's sinister face sent a chill down his spine. I still need to grow stronger, and soon. There's barely any gap between the second and third ninja wars. And I'll need money, too. Training equipment, specialized tools, secret medicines, just thinking about the cost made Taichi's head ache. He wasn't a rootless orphan, both his parents had been Chunin of Konoha, and they had left behind a small inheritance. Once he officially became a student of the Ninja Academy, he could claim it, and finally move out of the crowded orphanage. Still, it probably wasn't much. His parents were civilian Chunin. Between their savings and the village's compensation, it should be enough for living expenses, but not for the high costs of training. Which meant, he'd still have to earn money. As Taichi silently considered different ways to make an income, a sudden sobbing voice reached his ears. How could this happen? My name's not here. Dad, did you see it? Guy, don't give up. Keep looking. You've already given it your all, you'll succeed, I know you will. Taichi turned and saw 2 figures in matching green bodysuits, sporting identical bowl-cut hair. Might Due and Might Guy. The sight alone could make anyone chuckle, but hearing their words, Taichi found no humor in it. These 2 were also men who would one day achieve greatness through sheer effort. He looked away, scanning the soon-to-be classmates around him. Kurinai Yuhi, Genma, Obito, Shizun, all still small, round-faced kids. Adorable, really. Taichi quickly averted his eyes. If he kept staring, he felt like he'd turn into some sort of creep. When he turned his head back, he saw a white-haired boy with his hands in his pockets strolling toward the board. This brat was already trying to look cool at his age. Taichi had the sudden urge to smack him, but he knew better. Right now, he couldn't beat Kakashi. Seeing Kakashi made him think of Might Guy and the 8 Gates technique. Checking the list again, Taichi confirmed that Guy's name wasn't there. And yet, Guy would still enter this year's class. Changing direction, Taichi headed for a nearby swing set instead of going back to the orphanage. Sitting down, he gently swayed, keeping his eyes on Due and Guy. Before long, the father and son walked away, looking utterly dejected. But Tai Chi stayed put, patiently waiting. Sure enough, less than half an hour later, Guy returned, this time wearing a long banner across his chest as he began running laps around the school like a madman. The banner read, "Youth is burning." The spectacle drew curious stares and no small amount of laughter from bystanders. Tai Chi ignored the jeers, hopped off the swing, and walked toward him. "Hey!" Guy blinked, startled by the sudden appearance of a boy beside him, and slowed down. Did you fail the exam too?" "No. I passed." "But that doesn't mean I can slack off, does it?" Guy's eyes lit up. "What?" Tai Chi smirked and sped up, overtaking him. Effort never goes unrewarded. If you haven't succeeded yet, it just means you haven't worked hard enough. "Guy, my name's Matsushita Tai Chi. I believe you'll make it into the academy." Those few simple words hit Guy straight in the heart. He stopped in his tracks, tears brimming in his eyes, feeling as though limitless energy was welling up inside him. Goal: 500 laps around the Ninja Academy. If I can't do it, I'll frog hop it 500 times. Shouting his new objective, Guy dashed forward again, this time side by side with Tai Chi. Under the setting sun, the two of them ran lap after lap together. From that day on, two figures could be seen running tirelessly around the school, rain or shine. Sometimes Mike Dewey would show up to cheer them on. Sometimes it was just the two of them, their rhythm occasionally punctuated by the jeers of younger kids. And sometimes, two white-haired figures, one tall and one short, would pass by, their eyes briefly settling on the runners. "What is it, Kakashi? Do you know them?" "No, just curious, father." "Remember them, Kakashi. They will be strong one day," Tsukumo said with certainty. Hearing this, Kakashi turned his gaze back to the two boys. "Strong, huh?" 20 days later, March 28th. The third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, visited the Ninja Academy to oversee the final preparations for the new term. While there, he happened to spot two boys running laps around the school, drenched in sweat, Matsushita Tai Chi and Might Guy. Curious, he asked the teachers about them. Such hard-working youngsters, with students like these, the future of Konoha will surely be bright. The very next day, Might Guy's name appeared on the Academy's bulletin board. "Guy, congratulations. Hard work really does pay off." Tai Chi smiled sincerely. Of course he had known it all along, there was no way this year's intake would be complete without Might Guy. Clearly, the third Hokage had been impressed by Guy's persistence and decided to admit him. "Thanks, Tai Chi." Guy grinned from ear to ear. The recognition of his efforts was the sweetest reward he could imagine. "Then let's keep going. Today, 800 laps around the school. Fail, and we do it upside down. April 1st. Over 300 children, all around 5 or 6 years old, gathered on the Ninja Academy's training field. The third Hokage stood on the platform, delivering a passionate speech about the will of fire. Never underestimate the will of fire. Yes, it could sound idealistic, and yes, even some of its biggest advocates in the upper ranks didn't always practice what they preached, but it was still perfectly suited to the current state of the land of fire and Konoha village. Tai Chi neither dismissed nor fully embraced it. In his view, it was a tool, one worth using when the time came. For the common citizens of the land of fire, most with little to no formal education, and for the battle-focused shinobi of Konoha, the will of fire was an ideal rallying cry. Clear, simple, and uplifting, it was one of the reasons Konoha stood above the other great shinobi villages. Wherever the leaves dance, the fire will never die. The shadow of the flame will shine upon the village, and new leaves will bud anew. With those impassioned words, the third Hokage concluded his speech. The crowd of new students and assembled shinobi erupted into applause. The entrance ceremony was over. Classes would begin the next day. Tai Chi and Guy walked home with their arms slung over each other's shoulders, only to spot a panting Uchiha Obito running up the street. Late again, of course. Kakashi stopped and gave him a sidelong glance. Late even for the entrance ceremony, Obito spun around, glaring. He didn't even need to check to know it was Kakashi. Even now, he had to throw in his smug little comments. Taichi slowed down too, turning to watch the show. In the early days, Obito had been the brightest star among his group of friends, until Kakashi came along and stole the spotlight, especially when it came to Rin. Sure enough, when Rin's gaze shifted toward Kakashi, Obito's anger flared. No wonder that, in the future, Obito awakened the Mangekyo the moment Rin died. He'd been carrying feelings for no-era Rin since they were children. Unlike Taichi, who had spent his life in the orphanage, Obito, Rin, and Kakashi had known each other long before entering the academy. At the moment, Taichi's only real friend was Might Guy. Here, this is for you. Rin held out a folder to Obito. I knew you'd be late, so I prepared everything for you. Huh? Obito froze for a second, then lit up as he accepted it. As expected of you, Rin, thanks. I was really worried. If not for you, my grandma would have chewed me out again. What a beautiful moment, Taichi thought. I hope they treasure it while they can. He clapped Guy on the shoulder. Let's go. You know them? Guy glanced back. Sort of. That white-haired kid? He's the son of the famous White Fang of Konoha. I see. Looks like I've got another rival to keep an eye on. Not just one. This year's class is full of talent. We'll have to work even harder. Then how about a race? First to your place wins. Deal. The two bolted off at full speed. When they arrived at Taichi's new home, the place, unused for years, had already been scrubbed spotless. Yakushi Nono had brought a few of the older orphans to help. To Taichi's surprise, Might Due was there too. Normally, Due was busy taking on missions. After all, as a mere genin supporting two taijutsu specialists, he had no choice but to work tirelessly. Looking at the house, now completely transformed from when he first received it, Taichi stepped forward and took Nono's hand. Thank you, Sister Nono. He turned to the others. And thank you, everyone. You're all staying for dinner tonight, no excuses. Yay! We get to eat Taichi and I's cooking again. The younger kids practically bounced with excitement. After all, Taichi's cooking was the product of 2 lifetimes of experience. If cooking had levels, he'd easily be LV20. Uncle Due, you're staying too. I promise, it'll be worth your while. Originally, Might Due had planned to leave right after helping out, but after hearing this, he stopped in his tracks, flashing his dazzling white teeth in a broad grin. Whoa, well, thank you so much, Taichi. In that case, this old man will stay and taste your cooking today. Huh, just give me a moment and I'll whip something up, Taichi replied, heading straight to the kitchen. He had already bought the ingredients early in the morning after his training, knowing that Nono would bring people over to help. He had made sure to buy extra, otherwise, it wouldn't have been enough for so many mouths. You guys have no idea, Big Brother Taichi is the best cook in the entire Hidden Leaf. You'll see for yourselves in a bit, a cheeky little brat declared dramatically. Really? Guy's eyes went wide in surprise. Taichi never told me that. An hour later, Guy and Due were staring, mouths agape, at the table covered with vibrant, aromatic dishes, meals so different from ordinary Japanese-style fare that it was hard to believe they'd been prepared in just an hour. Well, I told you I wasn't lying. Don't listen to these little troublemakers, Taichi said with a laugh. Uncle Due, Guy, dig in while it's hot. It won't taste as good once it cools. Alright then, let's eat. Both men pressed their hands together in thanks, picked up the food in front of them, and the instant they took a bite, tears streamed down their faces like waterfalls. This is amazing. Ha! I knew it, the same kid cackled theatrically. Come on, eat. You can't keep talking with your mouth full, look around, the food's disappearing fast. Hey, you traitors. You couldn't wait for me, the kid yelled, before diving into the fray for his share. Off to the side, Nono simply ate at her own pace, watching the lively scene with a faint smile tugging at her lips. After the hearty lunch and some quick cleanup, Might Dewey and Might Guy were the first to take their leave. Tai Chi then walked Nono and the group of children to the door. Don't worry, Sister Nono, Tai Chi said as she fussed over him with reminders. I can take care of myself. And besides, you can always come visit me often. Nono smiled and nodded. I believe you. But if you run into any trouble, you must come back to the orphanage and tell me, all right? The orphanage will always be your home, never forget that. I won't. I promise. Tai Chi nodded solemnly. Nono took out a notebook she had prepared earlier and handed it to him. These are my notes from years of studying medical ninjutsu. Once you've learned to use chakra, you can give it a try. If there's anything you don't understand, come ask me. Consider this your housewarming gift. Tai Chi accepted it eagerly, throwing his arms around her waist. Wow, thank you so much, sister. She gently ruffled his hair. From today on, Tai Chi, you're a little adult now, you can stand on your own 2 feet. Work hard, alright? Tai Chi released her and watched as she and the children slowly walked away, disappearing down the road. His mind wandered to Nono's future. She was just over 20 now, and if his memory was correct, she still had at least 10 years before her untimely death. 10 years. Matsushita Tai Chi withdrew his gaze and turned back to his room. I have to become a jonin, no, even Kage level, within these 10 years. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect Nono or everyone at the orphanage. Of course, the best solution would be to find an opportunity to take out Danzo. Too many tragedies in the leaf had his fingerprints all over them. There would be a chance. During the Third Great Ninja War, that man often went on missions outside the village. If Tai Chi's strength was great enough by then, killing him wouldn't be impossible. The key was power, absolute power. With that thought, Tai Chi calmed his mind, notebook in hand, and turned toward his desk. In the study, I placed the scroll that Sister Nono had given me onto the desk. My eyes drifted to the few other scrolls lying there, among the very few relics left to me by my parents. Now that I had officially become a student of the Ninja Academy, the village had returned these belongings, which had been kept in storage. Before they died in battle, my parents had both been chunin, civilians who had worked their way up to that rank. They hadn't left much behind in terms of ninja techniques, and when everything was sorted, it came down to just 2 scrolls worth of knowledge. One was from my father, his personal notes and insights on the 3 basic techniques, Henge no Jutsu, Bunshin no Jutsu, Kawarimi no Jutsu, along with 2 C-rank fire release jutsu, Flame Bullet, Enden, and Phoenix Sage Fire Technique, Hozenka no Jutsu. Both were simple, foundational fire-style techniques. The other scroll was from my mother. It, too, contained her notes on the 3 basic techniques, but also something unexpected, her writings on wind release, great breakthrough, futon, detapa. I hadn't realized my mother had been a wind-natured shinobi. She'd only mastered a single wind-style jutsu, but it meant there was a good chance I had wind-nature chakra as well. In Konoha, wind-nature users were rare, the most famous being Danzo. I ran my fingers over the densely packed notes and heartfelt reflections written in the margins of each technique. I could almost feel the emotions my parents had when they recorded them. They must have dreamed of handing these scrolls to me personally, of teaching me step by step how to become a ninja. But that would never happen now. They had died too young, leaving me in the village's care, an orphan raised in the orphanage. Still, I was fortunate. At the orphanage, I had met Nono Yakushi, a responsible and compassionate headmistress. Perhaps my parents' spirits had been watching over me, guiding me to someone like her. I wiped away the tears at the corner of my eyes and straightened my back. For the sake of the parents of this life, I would live on, one step at a time, and rise to the very top, becoming the strongest shinobi this world had ever seen. With that resolve, I picked up my father's scroll first, studying it carefully. Classes at the academy would officially start tomorrow, and that was when the instructors would begin teaching chakra refinement. Before entering the academy, children were strictly forbidden from practicing chakra refinement. At too young an age, refining chakra could harm physical growth and diminish future potential. Of course, such restrictions only applied to children from civilian families, and orphans like me. Ninja clans had their own methods, be it secret medicines or high-ranking shinobi acting as guardians, ensuring their children could refine chakra early without harming their future. After all, how else could there have been so many children fighting in wars, from the Warring States period right up to the present? Although I couldn't yet practice the jutsu in the scrolls, I could still learn their principles and rehearse their hand seal sequences. If I practiced now, I could shave precious seconds off my casting time in the future. After finishing my parents' scrolls, I finally picked up the one Nono had given me. Compared to my parents' techniques, hers was far more valuable. Even in Konoha, medical ninjutsu wasn't something just anyone could learn. Without talent, contribution, and connections, you wouldn't even know where to study it. The scroll's contents were astonishingly comprehensive, enough for a complete novice in medical ninjutsu to, step by step, become a fully qualified medical ninja. It even included a C-rank healing technique, B-rank delicate illness extraction and mystical palm technique, and the A-rank chakra scalpel. These were all standard skills for a high-level medical ninja. Tai Chi was certain, even the official physicians at Konoha Hospital might not have mastered everything contained in this scroll. Its value was beyond doubt. After finishing his read-through, Tai Chi felt an even deeper sense of Nono's care and goodwill toward him. That warmth quickly turned into resolve. He absolutely could not allow Nono and the orphanage to suffer under Danzo's coercion, as they had in the original timeline. By the time he had gone through the 3 scrolls, night had already fallen. He quickly prepared a simple meal, ate in haste, and began his final training session for the day, basic taijutsu and basic meditation. This set of taijutsu, Tai Chi had realized, drew heavily from martial arts principles he knew in his past life. The Naruto world had plenty of powerful individual techniques, but when it came to a full-fledged, systematic training method for taijutsu, there were few examples. Perhaps the Hyuga clan's gentle fist counted, but most other methods were merely raw physical conditioning and individual combat moves. The basic taijutsu system, though plain in name, was anything but ordinary. It included every detail, training methods, renfa, maintenance methods, yangfa, and combat application, dafa. Training methods, building a foundation, improving skill, systematically enhancing the body's functions, mastering combat techniques, and cultivating inner strength. Maintenance methods, using specific techniques to restore the body, repair wear and tear, balance one's internal energy and blood, and even unlock greater potential. This was especially critical for shinobi, training, combat, and even chakra refinement all caused bodily strain. Shortened lifespans among ninja were, in large part, the result of such constant depletion. The maintenance methods here could directly counteract that. Combat application, converting the techniques from the training phase into real, battle-ready skills. You have practiced basic taijutsu. Related insights have improved. Your skill basic taijutsu has improved. EXP+1 You have focused on basic taijutsu training. Civilian job EXP+1. Your civilian job is at max level, please change class soon. Gained EXP will be converted after class change. Training wholeheartedly, he would receive a notification every 10 minutes. This was the greatest advantage of his panel, it allowed him to clearly track his progress and savor every step forward. With that constant sense of accomplishment, Tai Chi never felt training to be dull, on the contrary, he enjoyed it. 2 hours of taijutsu practice later, he took a short break before moving on to basic meditation. Unlike basic taijutsu, which focused on the body, basic meditation honed the mind, boosting mental strength, fortitude, and clarity. In the shinobi world, mental power was vital, not only for genjutsu use and resistance, but also for mastering the yin aspect of chakra. Taichi's mental attributes were already high thanks to his past life memories, and meditation only amplified the effect. You have practiced basic meditation. Related insights have improved. Your skill basic meditation has improved. EXP +1 You have focused on basic meditation training. Civilian job EXP +1. Your civilian job is at max level, please change class soon. Gained EXP will be converted after class change. After another 2 hours of training, it was close to 11 p.m., Taichi washed up, lay down in bed, and brought up his panel in his mind, /name, Matsushita Taichi profession, civilian LV, 5, max, talent, diligence makes up for lack of talent age, 6 constitution, 7 strength, 9 agility, 8 spirit, 17 attribute points, 4 skill points, for skills, basic taijutsu LV. 6, 113/1000, basic meditation LV, 6, 754/1000, note, learn chakra refinement to generate your first chakra and advance to ninja apprentice. Evaluation, you've just enrolled in the Ninja Academy, why haven't you learned chakra refinement yet? Planning to stay a civilian forever, Taichi ignored the snide evaluation. His recent training had raised basic taijutsu by 1 level, and basic meditation was only about 200 points away from leveling up as well. Every skill up brought with it a surge of related insights, and Taichi was confident that, in terms of taijutsu technique, he was already no weaker than many freshly graduated genin, though he still lacked actual combat experience. That, he would remedy once he started at the academy and had more chances to face other ninja. With thoughts of his future simmering in his mind, Taichi slowly drifted into sleep. Ninja Academy, classroom. The teacher hadn't arrived yet. The students were scattered around the room in small groups, some chatting and joking, others minding their own business. In the front row sat 3 students together, likely this year's Ino, Shika, Cho trio. The chubby one devouring food without a care was said to be a Kimichi Tangdo, the one slumped over and napping was Nara Shikaji, and the one sitting properly with a serious expression should be Yamanaka Shinya. At the next desk was a boy from the Inazuka clan, though Taichi didn't know his name. His head was almost buried under the desk, playing some sort of game with the little Ninken hiding in his drawer, completely absorbed. Across the room, a Hyuga student sat with an icy expression, his pale Byakugan staring fixedly ahead without any focus. The vacant gaze alone was enough to make the classmate in front of him shiver. Taichi's eyes swept across the classroom. In the future, some of these students would become famous across the shinobi world, others would fall on the battlefield. This was the reality of this world. Of course, Taichi wasn't one to waste time. His hands, hidden beneath the desk, were constantly practicing hand seals, 12 in total, over and over, forwards and backwards. He intended to train until his fingers could form the seals purely on instinct. When the classroom was finally full, a burly ninja walked in carrying a stack of booklets. "I'm your teacher, Yamada Mitsuki." He wrote his name on the blackboard before turning to face the class. "I like obedient children, and I dislike those who break the rules. My specialties are taijutsu and fire release. I'll be teaching you taijutsu and will also serve as your homeroom instructor." He glanced at the roster in his hand. "We'll start with introductions. First, Matsushita Taichi." Taichi hadn't expected to be first, but he wasn't nervous. He stood up calmly and said, "My name is Matsushita Taichi. I like learning new things, and there's nothing I particularly dislike. My dream is to become the strongest ninja and protect the orphanage and Director Nono. That's all." Having the mental maturity of someone far older than his actual age, Taichi knew exactly how to give an answer that would please a teacher. "Dream on. The strongest in the shinobi world will be us Uchiha." "Idiot, the Hokage is the strongest." "Quiet. Mitsuki barked. That's a fine dream, Taichi. You may sit down. Next, Uchiha Obito. Obito stood and scratched his head with an awkward laugh, stealing a glance toward Noara Rin. Hello everyone, I'm Uchiha Obito. My favorite thing, well, actually, my favorite person, ahahaha. My least favorite person is Kakashi. He said that part without hesitation. Kakashi just rolled his eyes and didn't even bother looking at him, burning a round of laughter from the class. Everyone already knew about their long-standing rivalry. My dream is to become Hokage. Damn it, Obito. I'm going to be Hokage, someone shouted from the back. Well, my dream is to become the most amazing ninja ever, so amazing that even the Hokage has to bow to me. Taichi ignored the unrealistic dreams being thrown around and quietly memorized the names and basic details of his classmates. Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Obito, Noara Rin, Shizun, Sarutobi Asuma, Yuhi Kurenai, Might Guy, all destined to become famous one day. For now, though, they were just kids in the same class as him. Alright, that's enough for introductions. Let's begin the lesson. Mitsuki's voice brought the chatter to a halt. First, does anyone know the most basic requirement to become a ninja? Chakra, the class answered in unison. Correct. But do you know what chakra actually is, and where it comes from? This time, only a few answered, mainly the children of shinobi clans. Naturally, Obito wasn't among them. The human body has about 130 trillion cells that take in physical energy, representing the yang aspect. Then there's spiritual energy, cultivated through training and experience, representing the yin aspect. By combining and harmonizing these two energies, we create chakra. It's the foundation of all ninjutsu, genjutsu, and even taijutsu. A ninja is a ninja because of chakra. Of course, simply having chakra doesn't mean you can use ninjutsu. To transform raw energy into specific techniques, you also need hand seals, but that's for a later lesson. Today, we focus on chakra itself. For aspiring ninja, the first step is both the most important and the most difficult. The concept of chakra isn't hard to explain, but extracting physical energy from your body isn't easy, and spiritual energy is even more elusive. Fortunately, thanks to generations of shinobi before us, we now have an effective method, chakra refinement. Follow my instructions closely. Next, everyone followed instructor Mitsuki's directions, finding a comfortable position and forming the tiger seal to help sense the flow of physical and spiritual energy. The classroom gradually grew quiet. As Taichi calmed his mind and applied the chakra refinement method exactly as the instructor had described, he began to feel a gentle warmth gathering from every part of his body toward the center of his chest, the Tanjong point. At the same time, a refreshing coolness from his mind flowed toward the same spot. The two currents met and collided at the Tanjong, slowly giving birth to a new kind of energy, chakra. Most of it sank down to his lower abdomen, the dantian near his navel, while the rest dispersed through his body. The portion that spread throughout his body clearly had a nourishing, strengthening effect. So chakra wasn't without benefits to the body after all. It was just that ninjas, constantly fighting in high-intensity battles, over-refined their chakra and burned through their physical reserves, shortening their lifespans. As soon as his first thread of chakra formed, faint notification chimes echoed in his ears. Taichi ignored them for now. This was a rare chance to train under supervision, and he wanted to get as familiar with chakra refinement as possible. While making his rounds to ensure no accidents happened, Instructor Mitsuki suddenly noticed Taichi. That's fast, it hasn't even been 20 minutes. He stepped closer, sensing carefully. No mistake, that's a chakra fluctuation. Looks like this year's civilian class has produced a real genius. I'll have to report this to the Hokage right away. Over the next hour, 2 more students successfully refined chakra, Noara Rin and Might Guy. Clap, alright, that's enough for today. Mitsuki's palm struck lightly, releasing a faint wave of chakra that snapped several students, including Taichi, out of their meditative state. Those of you who succeeded, don't get cocky. Keep practicing at home to solidify the feeling. Those who didn't, don't be discouraged. It's normal not to sense your physical and spiritual energies right away. I took 2 whole days to refine my first chakra. Keep working at it. Class dismissed. The moment class ended, the room buzzed with chatter. Some students gathered in groups to compare results, their expressions ranging from gloomy to delighted. Tai Chi. You got your chakra, right? Might Guy bounded over, grinning from ear to ear. Of course. I managed it pretty early. What about you? You must have too, right? Guy struck his trademark thumbs-up pose, flashing a mouthful of perfect white teeth. Ha! Didn't I say? You guessed it. Youth is all about challenging each other. Seeing Guy's joy, Tai Chi felt genuinely happy for him. Given that Guy had only been allowed into the academy by special permission from the Hokage, he'd worried he might never refine chakra. Now, all those fears could be thrown away. With that, Tai Chi finally turned his attention to the notifications he'd ignored earlier. // you have learned, Chakra Refinement LV 00/10 / you practiced chakra refinement, related insights improved. / skill, chakra refinement, EXP +1, / skill, chakra refinement, EXP +1, / congratulations, chakra refinement LV 10/100, / you have refined your first chakra. Requirements met for job change, physique 6, spirit 6, chakra refinement LV 1. / initiating job change, / job change successful. Experience converted. New profession, ninja apprentice LV 1, 85/100. / stats increased, physique +2, strength +1, agility +1, spirit +1. / new talent acquired, scholar, / scholar, there's nothing a true scholar can't learn, unless the body forbids it. +1000% focus, +100% thought speed, and doubled learning efficiency. / +1 attribute point, +1 skill point, / name, Matsushita Taichi profession, ninja apprentice LV 1, 91/100, talents, diligence makes up for lack of talent, scholar age, 6 constitution, 9 strength, 10 agility, 9 spirit, 18 chakra, 500, 4000, number in parentheses is maximum daily extraction limit, exceeding it causes physical damage. Attribute points, 5 skill points, 5 skills, basic taijutsu LV 6, 113/1000, basic meditation LV 6, 754/1000, chakra refinement LV 1, 23/100, evaluation, a small fry in the shinobi world. Aside from hard work, you have no other choice. / Tai Chi kept his expression neutral, but inside he was overjoyed, one step closer to his goal. The afternoon passed in theory lessons. Ninja clan kids might treat such classes lightly, but Tai Chi studied with full focus. This was the foundation for survival and progress in the future. / you studied ninja-related knowledge, ninja apprentice EXP +1, so even studying gave experience. Tai Chi's attention sharpened even further. Lord Hokage. Oh, it's you, Mitsuki. What brings you here now? Is there an issue at the Ninja Academy? Yes, Lord Hokage. Yamada Mitsuki stood at attention, excitement written all over his face. He hadn't expected the Hokage to remember his name. Without wasting a moment, he handed over a neatly prepared file. I discovered an exceptionally gifted civilian student in this year's intake. As soon as I compiled the details, I came to report in person. His name is Taichi Matsushita. His parents died in the Second Great Ninja War, and he's lived in an orphanage ever since. Today was his very first chakra training session. He managed to refine chakra in less than 20 minutes. Oh. Sarutobi Hiruzen took the file, reading as he listened to Mitsuki's report. When his eyes fell on Taichi's stated dream, his brows lifted slightly. To protect, clearly, to Hiruzen, this was even more important than chakra refinement speed. In Konoha, geniuses were not rare. But a genius who upheld the will of fire, that was someone truly worth the Hokage's attention. Very good, Mitsuki. Keep a close eye on this Taichi Matsushita, he may well become a pillar of the village in the future, Hiruzen said. Also, these two, Might Guy and Noera Rin, are promising as well. Make sure they receive proper guidance. Yes, sir. While Yamada Mitsuki was reporting to the Hokage, Taichi himself had just come home from a day at the academy. But his mind wasn't on schoolwork, it was on a different challenge entirely, how to make money as quickly as possible. This wasn't just about buying medicine, tools, and supplies for his own training. The future of the orphanage was at stake. More importantly, it was tied to whether Yakushi Nono could safely break away from Root. In the original timeline, Nono could have left, but Danzo Shimura had seized control of the orphanage's funding, using it to force her into carrying out Root missions. If the orphanage had its own steady income, Danzo's leverage would vanish. Even if there were other complications, removing one major weakness was still a victory. The problem? Taichi was just over 6 years old, too young for most jobs. Anything ninja-related, like making tools or explosive tags, required knowledge he simply didn't have yet. After thinking it over, he decided to draw on knowledge from his past life, maybe he could invent something unique and turn a small profit. He brainstormed, food, clothing, housing, daily needs, but those industries either required too much manpower or operated on a scale far beyond what a small orphanage could manage. Time was also a problem, his own training came first. After much thought, he still hadn't found the right idea. It was already past 6 o'clock, and hunger began to gnaw at him. He headed to the kitchen to make some ramen. But halfway through cooking, he froze, staring at the garlic in his hand. Because of the orphanage's financial troubles, Taichi often had to help supplement their food supply, fishing in rivers, climbing trees for birds, and so on. But this was the shinobi world, and here, the fish and birds were anything but docile. Annoy them, and you might get bitten or clawed. Try to take them home for dinner, and they'd resist even harder. After enough encounters, injuries were inevitable. Light wounds could heal naturally, especially with Nono's medical ninjutsu. But there was one time, he and some friends had gone to steal bird eggs, only to be caught by the mother bird, a massive creature with a wingspan over 2 meters. Taichi had shielded his friends during their escape and taken a vicious peck to the arm, leaving a hole clean through. The injury was serious enough that Nono rushed him to Konoha Hospital immediately. That visit opened his eyes. In year 42 of Konoha, the village's medical care was still poor. Even their disinfectants and anti-inflammatories were barely effective. Without medical ninjutsu, the death toll in every ninja war would have been far higher. And when it came to fighting infection, one substance stood out above all: penicillin. But producing it required complex conditions, and it might not even exist in this world. However, there was one thing this world certainly had: garlic. And from garlic came allicin, a natural and powerful antibacterial agent. Allicin was cheap, easy to produce, and highly effective for sterilization and anti-inflammation. In a world like the shinobi continent, where every few decades erupted into another global war, such medicine could become indispensable. The thought made Taichi clench his fist in excitement. This could solve my money problem. Without wasting time, he wolfed down the rest of his ramen, then gathered every clove of garlic he could find in the kitchen. Producing allicin wasn't complicated. Taichi decided to use an extraction method with a relatively high yield: organic solvent extraction. First, he procured a jar of white liquor and distilled it several times to raise its alcohol concentration. Then he crushed all the garlic into a fine paste and soaked it in the high-proof liquor. Of course, pure alcohol would have been even better for extraction, but given his current resources, he had to make do. Finally, he distilled the garlic-infused solution again, collecting the oil-like liquid that remained, garlic oil, rich in allicin. Looking at the meager result, barely 2 or 3 grams of oil from an entire kilogram of garlic, Tai Chi felt a pang of anxiety. Whether this plan succeeded or failed would depend on the upcoming tests. A glance at the clock reminded him that it was late, and he hadn't yet done his daily training. Carefully, he poured the precious garlic oil into a glass container and stored it in the refrigerator before tidying up. Now, it was time to train. / you train in basic taijutsu. Your related insights improve. / basic taijutsu skill level increases. EXP +1 / your focus during basic taijutsu training increases your ninja apprentice job EXP by +1. / you train in basic meditation. Your related insights improve. / basic meditation skill level increases. EXP +1 / your focus during basic meditation training increases your ninja apprentice job EXP by +1. Since he now had an additional skill, chakra refinement, Tai Chi shortened his taijutsu and meditation sessions, setting aside an entire hour to work solely on refining chakra. He discovered something interesting: as long as he didn't refine more chakra in one go than his body could handle, the process was actually beneficial, strengthening and maintaining his physical condition. The problem was, chakra leaked away naturally once refined. Maintaining a steady level in the body was a challenge. Since realizing its strengthening effect, Tai Chi had been thinking of ways to solve this, perhaps making refinement an automatic, subconscious process, or finding a method to reduce chakra leakage. But those solutions would require much more knowledge than he currently possessed. For now, his only option was to refine chakra periodically to keep it at a stable level. / you train in chakra refinement. Your related insights improve. / chakra refinement skill level increases. EXP +1 / your focus during chakra refinement training increases your ninja apprentice job EXP by +1. / congratulations. Your ninja apprentice job level has increased. / attribute points +1 skill points +1, at the very end of his training, the progress bar that had been on the verge of filling finally tipped over, his job level had gone up. / name, Matsushita Taichi profession, ninja apprentice LV, 2/0/200, talents, diligence makes up for lack of talent, scholar age, 6 constitution, 9 strength, 10 agility, 9 spirit, 18 chakra, 800, 4200, maximum daily refinement before causing bodily harm attribute points, 6 skill points, 6. Skills, basic taijutsu LV, 6, 124/1000, basic meditation LV, 6, 765/1000, chakra refinement LV, 1, 42/100, evaluation, a small fry in the shinobi world. Aside from hard work, you have no other choice. / staring at his stat panel, seeing the tangible growth each day brought, this was Taichi's greatest source of joy. It was proof that every single day, he was becoming stronger. Early the next morning, after finishing his training with Guy, Tai Chi headed straight for the market. He deliberately sought out injured or inflamed livestock, chickens with broken wings, fish with wounds. In the end, he bought 2 chickens and 3 fish. Back home, he retrieved the vial of allicin from the refrigerator and carefully applied it to the chicken's injuries. For one chicken, he even mixed a small amount into its feed. This one would serve as part of the control group for his experiment. The fish setup was simpler: each of the 3 fish went into its own basin, with varying doses of allicin added to the water to observe any differences in effect. Once everything was in place, all that remained was to wait for results. Tai Chi tidied up and set off for the Ninja Academy. As a first-year student, there were still classmates who hadn't even managed to refine chakra yet. Naturally, half the day was again devoted to chakra refinement practice. According to Yamada-sensei, they would spend every morning for the next month doing nothing else. This was only possible in Konoha, where the system founded by Hashirama Senju and formalized by Tobarama Senju gave students the luxury of time. In the Warring States era, or even in some other hidden villages today, students would be rushed to the battlefield the moment they could refine chakra and learn the bare essentials. In Konoha, at least, the will of fire still counted for something. Feeling the chakra flow within his body, Tai Chi recalled how, just days ago, he'd needed to constantly monitor and guide it along a specific route. Now, after only 2 days of practice, it had begun to circulate on its own, almost as naturally as blood through his veins. When he discreetly asked Yamada-sensei about this, the teacher's answer was telling. This level of control was typically only seen in Jonin, not average Chunin or Genin. Tai Chi suspected this was another benefit of his panel. Once a skill was formed, it became a permanent ability that would never regress. This development also brought him closer to solving the problem of making chakra refinement an instinctive process. All he needed now was to regulate the pace so that his refinement rate matched his body's capacity, no more, no less. Of course, this was no quick fix. It would still require long-term training. But at least now, he had a clear direction. You practice basic meditation. Related insights improved. Basic meditation skill EXP +1, your focus during basic meditation training increases, ninja apprentice job EXP by +1, congratulations. Constitution +1, strength +1, agility +1, the strengthening effect of chakra was immediate. Attributes that might have taken a month of physical training to improve had now increased after just 2 days of possessing chakra. Of course, this was also thanks to his constant prior training, but it was clear that chakra made a decisive difference. The gap between a chakra-wielding shinobi and an ordinary human was truly enormous. Now that Tai Chi had just stepped over that line himself, the difference felt startlingly real. With the occasional status notifications chiming in his mind, the morning classes came to an end. Afternoon, that afternoon, Instructor Yamada stepped into the classroom and announced, "Next up, we'll be having a ninja tool throwing lesson." The room instantly buzzed with excitement. After all, they were only 5 or 6 years old, anything that let them move around and throw sharp objects was far more fun than sitting through theory lessons. They followed Yamada out to the training field, where dozens of targets had been neatly set up, one for each student. In front of every target stood a small platform, each stocked with a dozen or so shuriken and kunai. Tai Chi stepped up to his station, picking up a shuriken and weighing it in his palm. The balance and weight were just like the real thing, though the edges were dull, obviously practice versions. "Alright, eyes up here," Yamada called, drawing everyone's attention. Ninja tool throwing is one of the most basic combat skills for a shinobi. Whether it's a shuriken or a kunai, what matters most is angle, force, and timing. He demonstrated, his wrist flicked smoothly, sending the shuriken in a graceful arc that landed dead center on a target 10 meters away. "Relax the wrist. Let inertia do the work, don't just muscle it," he said. Then he picked up a kunai, put in a little more strength, and threw. The weapon flew straight and true, striking another target 15 meters away right in the bullseye. The students erupted into applause. "Remember what you just saw. Now it's your turn to practice," Yamada said. System prompt, UV learned, ninja tool throwing. Experience +1 Tai Chi smiled at the skill notification. Simple, yes, but definitely useful. He mimicked Yamada's form, adjusted his grip, and gave his first throw, clang. The shuriken went wide. Way wide. He scanned the others, aside from kids from ninja clans, most were missing their marks just like him. No shame in that. On his second try, Tai Chi paid close attention to his finger positioning before flicking his wrist again. Thunk. The shuriken clipped the edge of the target. Progress. Soon he was in a rhythm, thunk, 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 his throws growing steadier with each attempt. Yamada moved among the students, correcting stances and emphasizing, ninja tools aren't just weapons, they're part of your tactics. Feints, distractions, traps, master them, and you can control the battlefield. Yes, sensei, the class chorused. / system prompt, your skill, ninja tool throwing, has advanced to LV1, 0/100, / with the level up came a flood of instinctive knowledge, as if months of practice had been crammed into his body. He threw again, dead center. And again. Every shot hit the bullseye. Tai Chi. He turned to see Shizun beside him. What's up? I saw you improving so quickly, could you teach me? She asked softly. Little Shizun, it seemed, had always been this shy. Tai Chi glanced at her target, it was spotless. Sure. Give it a try so I can see, he said. She threw. As expected, it missed completely. But Tai Chi noticed her mistake instantly. At the moment of release, she hooked her wrist inward. When you throw, keep your wrist loose. And especially when it leaves your hand, no hooking motion. It was a simple habit to fix once pointed out. Shizun tried again, and her results quickly improved. Thank you so much, Tai Chi, she beamed, already skipping the formal classmate in her address. No problem. If you need help, just ask. / system prompt, teaching others grants you experience. Skill, ninja tool throwing, +1 EXP / the discovery made Tai Chi grin. Not only could he train on his own, he could level up by helping others. Teaching, after all, was just another form of learning. As the saying goes, to review the old is to understand the new. The ancients knew their stuff. From a distance, Yamada watched, pleased to see Shizun's rapid improvement under Tai Chi's guidance. After school, Tai Chi rushed home, eager to check on his experimental chickens and fish. First, he compared the two chickens. Both had clear signs of recovery, but the one fed with allicin extract showed no redness or swelling at all, its wound had obviously healed from inflammation. Then he examined the 3 fish. The results were similar, all were improving, but the one treated with the highest concentration of allicin already showed signs of complete wound closure. Incredible, is allicin really this effective, or is it just that the allicin in this ninja world is absurdly potent? Tai Chi marveled to himself. Either way, his money-making plan now had solid proof behind it. He savored his excitement for a while before picking up yesterday's tools and crushing today's batch of fresh garlic. After a round of pounding and mixing, he produced a small bottle of garlic oil. Holding the bottle, Tai Chi could almost see stacks of cash waving at him. But a thought struck him, wait, if I hand it over like this, anyone could sniff it and know exactly what it is. Not safe. So he rummaged around his home, found some harmless yet pungent-smelling ingredients, and mixed them into the bottle. After shaking it well, he took another whiff. The smell was now a bizarre cocktail of odd aromas, no one could possibly guess what it was. Perfect. Tomorrow, he didn't have ninja school, which meant he could head to the orphanage and discuss his money-making scheme with Nono. But first, daily training couldn't be skipped. / the next morning, after finishing his usual exercises, Tai Chi grabbed the bottle of allicin extract and set off for the orphanage. When he arrived, Nono had gone out with a few older kids to buy supplies. While waiting, Tai Chi gathered the younger children in the courtyard for a story session. Morning sunlight streamed over the yard as Tai Chi sat cross-legged beneath the old tree. A dozen bright-eyed kids crowded around him. And then, Sun Wukong leapt in one somersault, covering 108,000 li. Tai Chi gestured dramatically, earning a chorus of gasps. That's faster than a ninja, right? Asked Yami, a little girl with twin pigtails. Way faster. And he can pluck a single hair and turn it into a whole army of monkeys. Tai Chi grinned, scratching his head like the Monkey King, making the children burst into giggles. But, if a demon tries to eat a child, can he make it in time? Asked little Tai nervously, clutching his shirt hem. Of course. Taichi ruffled his hair. One swing of his golden staff, bam. Demon down. He sprang up and mimed a sweeping strike, making the kids squeal and lean back. Questions tumbled out all at once. Then what happened? Did Tang Monk scold him? The wind rustled the leaves, mixing Taichi's voice with the children's laughter and startling a sparrow from its perch under the eaves. The front gate creaked open. Taichi looked up to see Nono and the older kids carrying big bags inside. Alright, that's it for today, next time we'll continue, he told the kids, who reluctantly dispersed. Nono-nichan, why so many things? Taichi asked, taking a bag from her. Oh, Taichi, you came early, she smiled. The orphanage funds are running low, and the store was having a big sale today, so I stocked up. Her words made Taichi's heart sink. Whenever the orphanage's money ran short, Nono would disappear for a while, off to do missions for the root. But remembering why he'd come here, Taichi's mood lifted. Actually, I came to talk about something that might solve our funding problem. Really? Nono raised an eyebrow. She could hardly believe a 6-year-old might have an answer to such a problem. Once the supplies were put away, she led Taichi into the office and closed the door. Taichi took the bottle from his pocket and began his prepared pitch. You're telling me this works better than any antiseptic or anti-inflammatory in the hospital? She asked in disbelief. Much better, Taichi said confidently. I tested it, on a chicken with a bacterial infection, it cleared the swelling in just 1 day. Nono stared at the small bottle, silent for a long moment. Finally, she asked, what's your plan? Do you think we can produce this ourselves here at the orphanage? Absolutely not, she said firmly. Something with this much value would make us a target. We couldn't protect it. I figured as much, Taichi nodded. Then our only option is to find a powerful person to partner with, someone trustworthy, with a good reputation. He looked at her meaningfully. Do you know anyone like that? Nono thought for a long while but couldn't think of anyone she knew who fit the bill. Big sis, what about Lady Tsunade? Taichi suggested. She's not only the 3rd Hokage's disciple but also one of the most skilled medical nin in the world. She'd definitely recognize the value of this garlic extract. Nono considered it, then nodded in agreement. But we don't know her personally, or even where to find her. That part, Taichi said with a sly grin, I might have a lead on. After tidying up a few matters at the orphanage, Taichi pulled Nono along to the entrance of Konoha's largest gambling hall. They found a discreet spot and began their stakeout. Taichi, are you sure Lady Tsunade will be in there? Nono asked, uncertainty in her voice. Let's just wait. If luck's on our side, we'll see her today. Taichi's own tone wasn't all that confident. Big sis, you remember what we agreed on earlier, right? Emi-chan. Good. You'll do the talking when we approach her, I'll be back up. By midday, the doors to the gambling hall swung open and out stepped a statuesque blonde beauty. Her assets were impossible to miss, as was her iconic outfit. Taichi and Nono exchanged a glance, nodded to each other, and quietly followed her. They trailed her into a side alley, only for Tsunade to suddenly turn around, arms crossed. Hey, you two. You've been tailing me since I left the gambling hall, don't tell me you're here to make sure I pay my tab. Her tone was sharp, eyes narrowing. Hearing that, black lines practically formed on Taichi's forehead. So she lost a lot today. She wouldn't just take our invention without paying, right? He thought wryly. Nono stepped forward. Lady Tsunade, I'm Yakushi Nono, head of the orphanage. This boy here is Matsushita Taichi, one of our former children. She briefly explained the situation. So, Tsunade summarized flatly, you want me to recommend this miracle medicine to the Hokage. At this point in her life, Tsunade was still deep in the slump caused by losing her brother and lover, crippled by hemophobia, and with zero interest in village affairs. Find someone else. She turned away to leave. Nono froze, at a loss for words. Then Tai Chi stepped forward. Lady Tsunade, as the first Hokage's granddaughter and one of the legendary Sannin, can you really stand by and watch patients, people who could be cured, die because they can't get the right medicine? Do you think that's something the first Hokage would want to see? If an adult had said this, Tsunade would have brushed it off without a thought. But when she turned and saw Tai Chi speaking, for a moment, she saw Nawaki standing there, the same stubborn light in his eyes. The same, irritating earnestness. Fine. Hand over this miracle medicine of yours. Tai Chi nudged the still stunned Nono. She fished the small bottle from her pocket and handed it to Tsunade. Tsunade popped the stopper and took a whiff, only to have a bizarre, indescribable odor slam into her senses. She quickly plugged it back up and held it at arm's length, giving Tai Chi a long, unimpressed look. Clever little brat, aren't you? Tai Chi just scratched his head and grinned sheepishly. He knew his little, masking trick wouldn't fool her. All right. I'll test its effects myself, then I'll come find you. Yes, Lady Tsunade. Thank you for your time. Tai Chi and Nono both bowed deeply. When they straightened, she was already gone. As expected of one of the Sannin, Tai Chi, you were really daring just now. I was half afraid she'd smack you into the wall, Nono said, ruffling his hair. Ha. I didn't think much about it at the time, Tai Chi admitted, though now he felt a little nervous. All that's left is to wait. I'll head home, still have training this afternoon. All right. When Tai Chi returned home, he quickly tidied himself up and headed straight to the training grounds. To his surprise, Might Guy and Kakashi were already there, engaged in an intense sparring match. Kakashi's father was none other than Tsukumo Hatake, the White Fang of Konoha. Guy's father, though only a genin in rank, had been a man who could open the 8 gates and take down the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, a top-class warrior in every sense. Both of them had grown up under the guidance of remarkable fathers, and it showed. Their movements were precise, their exchanges calculated. Watching their attack-defense transitions was like observing a perfectly choreographed dance. Tai Chi, on the other hand, was a total rookie, no real combat experience at all. But that didn't stop him from imagining how he might respond if he were the one trading blows with them. It didn't take long for the two to notice him. After a quick exchange, they broke apart and stepped back. Tai Chi. You're a bit late today. Guy beamed, flashing his trademark sparkling grin. Kakashi and I have been here since early morning. Youth must not be squandered in idleness. I had some business at the orphanage, Tai Chi replied, not going into details. But since when did you two get so chummy, sparring together like this? Guy laughed. Kakashi is my lifelong rival. We've known each other since before the term started. Then he turned to introduce them. Kakashi, this is Matsushita Tai Chi, my dearest friend. Kakashi rolled his eyes. Idiot, we're in the same class. You don't need to introduce us. Still, he looked at Tai Chi with interest. Tai Chi, want to have a match? Oh. So this younger Kakashi was just as competitive. Tai Chi didn't mind, if anything, he welcomed the chance. What he lacked most right now was real combat experience. Sure. But just a warning, I've never had a proper duel before, so don't be too disappointed. They stepped into the center, exchanged the seal of confrontation, and the fight began. Kakashi lowered his stance, moving like a hunting leopard. In a flash, he lunged forward, sweeping his left leg toward Tai Chi's shins. Tai Chi leapt back, but Kakashi's transition was lightning fast. Planting both hands on the ground, he launched a high kick toward Tai Chi's chest. In midair with nowhere to evade, Tai Chi could only cross his arms in front of him. The impact knocked him backward, sending him rolling across the dirt. Tai Chi hit the ground but didn't hesitate. He rolled through to absorb the force and sprang back to his feet. Stabilizing himself, he charged in, his fists shooting out in rapid jabs. His punching speed even edged out Kakashi's for a moment, forcing the prodigy onto the defensive. But Kakashi quickly regained his rhythm. Seizing an opening, he swept a whip kick at Taichi's ribs. Taichi blocked with his forearm, only for Kakashi to pivot smoothly and drive an elbow into his side, forcing him back several steps. The fight went back and forth, but overall, Kakashi held the advantage. Taichi's lack of experience showed, many of his counters were clumsy. Still, every now and then, he'd slip in an unexpected move that caught Kakashi off guard. After more than a dozen exchanges, Kakashi leapt in with a flying kick that sent Taichi sprawling. This time, Taichi stayed down, panting hard, sweat dripping down his face. Kakashi relaxed and stepped forward, offering his hand to help him up. "Not bad, Taichi. You clearly haven't sparred much, but to fight at this level? That's rare." Remembering his father's praise for Taichi and Guy, Kakashi found himself agreeing. Guy ran over, giving a dramatic thumbs up. "Taichi. I didn't know you were this strong. My youthful blood is burning." Then his eyes lit up. "Come on, Taichi. Let's have our own exhilarating showdown." "All right." Taichi wasn't about to back down. After a short rest, he felt ready again. Both took their stances, and Kakashi stepped aside to watch. The moment Guy saw Taichi prepared, he charged in without hesitation. Unlike Kakashi's refined technique, Guy's attacks were raw power, every punch and kick carried crushing force. Blocking him was far more punishing, each impact jarring through Taichi's arms. Little by little, Taichi began to find his rhythm. Instead of meeting Guy's overwhelming strength head-on, he shifted to using entangling and deflecting techniques, redirecting the force rather than clashing against it. Every so often, he'd spot an opening and launch a sudden counterattack, forcing Guy into a moment of frantic defense. From the sidelines, Kakashi could see the improvement even more clearly. In just 2 matches, Taichi's growth was astonishing, not exactly like a completely different fighter, but enough to feel like he'd leapt an entire tier. During the bout with Guy, Kakashi even caught glimpses of his own style in Taichi's movements. The progress was almost unnatural. It wasn't really a mystery, Taichi's basic taijutsu LV6 was already on par with an average chunin. What he lacked was experience in real combat. Today's sparring simply allowed him to unleash the potential he already had. As the fight dragged on, fatigue began to creep in. Taichi's movements slowed, his guard weakened, and his blocks grew sluggish. Eventually, Guy slipped through his defense and landed a solid punch to the chest, sending Taichi sprawling to the ground. Both boys were breathing hard. Guy had to work for his win, Taichi's persistence had burned through a good deal of his stamina. "Taichi, huff, no wonder you're my best friend, huff, you've improved so much, huff," Guy said between breaths, flashing his trademark dazzling grin. At that moment, Taichi's gaze flicked to the glowing panel in his mind. You engaged in taijutsu sparring. Related insights increased. Basic taijutsu skill EXP +2, focused on ninja combat training. Ninja apprentice job EXP +2, the numbers were higher than usual. Sure enough, leveling up by defeating opponents suited him far better than grinding solo. 2 quick sparring matches had given him more experience than 2 hours of normal training. Kakashi came over and pulled him to his feet. The 3 of them sat in the cool shade beneath a tree, sharing their thoughts on the battles while catching their breath. Once they'd recovered, each went back to their own drills, occasionally pairing off again to reinforce what they'd learned. The breeze stirred the cherry blossoms by the edge of the training field, scattering petals between the 3 of them. The setting sun bathed them in warm light, their shadows stretching long across the ground, witness to the beginning of a friendship that would last for years. That evening, Taichi returned home with aching muscles and just enough energy to fix a quick meal. After eating, he sat in his study, replaying the day's gains in his mind. First, the money-making plan was finally in motion, now it was just a matter of waiting for Tsunade's reply, which might come as soon as tomorrow. Second, the afternoon matches with Guy and Kakashi had opened his eyes to a new way of earning experience. Everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. Name, Matsushita Taichi Profession, Ninja Apprentice LV2, 127/200, Talents, Diligence makes up for lack of talent, Scholar Age, 6 Constitution, 10 Strength, 11 Agility, 10 Spirit, 18 Chakra, 657, 4,200, Attribute Points, 5 Skill Points, 5 Skills, Basic Taijutsu LV6, 324/1000. Basic Meditation LV6, 815/1000, Chakra Refinement Technique LV2, 15/200, Ninja Tool Throwing LV1, 94/100, Evaluation, a fighter jet among sardines. Keep going, we expect great things from you. Looking at his panel, Taichi noted that since the start of term, he'd gained 2 new skills and leveled up across the board. The only glaring gap, he still didn't know a single ninjutsu. His eyes fell to the scroll on the desk. Now that he had a decent chakra reserve, it was time to add ninjutsu practice to the schedule. Meanwhile, across the village in a dimly lit tavern, Tsunade was slumped over the table, completely drunk, snoring softly, her plans from earlier in the day entirely forgotten. Opposite her, Jiraiya and Orochimaru exchanged a long-suffering look. They'd been dragged here by Tsunade for a round of drinks, and now it seemed not only would they go home sober, but they'd also have to clean up the mess she'd left behind. Ninja Academy, classroom on the podium, Teacher Yamada droned on about the finer points of chakra refinement, hoping the few remaining students who still couldn't extract chakra would finally manage to do so soon. Meanwhile, over half the class was busy with their own affairs. Yamada didn't mind. For the ninja clan kids, and even for the ordinary students who had already extracted chakra, this lecture was nothing but a waste of time. As long as they didn't disrupt others, he let them be. Among those tuning out was Matsushita Taichi. No longer in need of supervision, chakra extraction had become second nature to him. At the moment, he was practicing ninja hand seals. After all, memorizing a jutsu wasn't enough to perform it. Practice was essential. Step 1, memorize the sequence. Step 2, execute the seals with speed and precision. Step 3, channel chakra while sealing. After all, the purpose of the hand seals was to guide chakra flow for proper jutsu release. Only by completing all 3 could one truly perform a jutsu. As for speed, that could only be honed through endless repetition until muscle memory took over. By 11:30 a.m., the morning classes ended. Once the teacher left, the classroom erupted into chatter. Those living nearby headed home for lunch, while others stayed to eat the bento they had brought from home. Taichi, along with Might Guy and Kakashi, were in the latter group. After yesterday's sparring, the 3 had grown closer, and now shared lunch together while chatting. But a gentle voice suddenly cut in. Taichi-kun, I brought some sushi. Would you like to try? All 3 looked up in unison, their eyes turning toward the source. It was Shizun, blushing under their combined gaze. Taichi was momentarily surprised, but recalling their previous encounter, he smiled easily and accepted. Thanks, Shizun. I'll gladly take some. Just like that, their trio became a quartet, though clearly split into 2 pairs. Guy and Kakashi sat together, while Shizun and Taichi formed the other. Shizun offered her sushi, and Taichi returned the favor. Here, try this braised pork I made myself. What? You made this yourself, Taichi-kun? Shizun's eyes widened in disbelief. She hadn't expected him to be able to cook something so complex. One bite later, her expression melted into bliss. It was a flavor she'd never experienced before. Well? Isn't Taichi's cooking divine? Guy butted in. Taichi shot him a look but, seeing his obvious anticipation, pushed the lunchbox toward him. Here, you two try some too. Guy and Kakashi didn't hesitate, each taking a piece. Guy was already familiar with Taichi's cooking, but for Kakashi, it was a first, and he wore the same astonished look as Shizun. They, in turn, shared some of their food with Taichi, and soon all the dishes were sampled. 15 minutes later, Shizun's sushi was gone, courtesy of Taichi, and lunchtime gave way to the hour-long break. While Guy snored and Kakashi disappeared somewhere, Taichi read basic ninjutsu theory and practiced sealing with one hand. Shizun, watching him, eventually drifted off to sleep. 1:30 p.m., afternoon classes. The first was theory again, and the class split into the usual groups, sleepers, snack eaters, daydreamers, and the few serious students, Taichi, Shizun, and Rin Noera among them. Everyone managed their time according to their own goals. In the ninja world, neglecting your studies was basically gambling with your life. After theory came shuriken jutsu. Days of practice had brought visible improvement, most could now at least hit the target. But for students like Kakashi, Taichi, and Asuma, bullseyes were the norm. You have practiced ninja tool throwing. Relevant insights increased. Skill, ninja tool throwing, DXP +1 focus training as a ninja apprentice, DXP +1, congratulations. Skill, ninja tool throwing, has reached LV3, 0/400, with the skill up came a rush of fine motor control ingrained into his muscles. Taichi picked up a kunai, flicked his wrist, and struck the bullseye with ease. Grinning, he took two more, gripping them between his fingers, and sent them flying. Thunk! Thunk, both hit the target, slightly off-center, but impressive nonetheless. Guy's jaw dropped. Even Kakashi was surprised, reaching that level had taken him far longer. Taichi, do you have some kind of secret technique? Shizun asked. No secret. I just kept practicing, and suddenly it clicked. Tried it, and, well, here we are. Everyone rolled their eyes. 5:00 p.m., end of class. Taichi waved goodbye to Guy and Kakashi, then hurried toward the orphanage. He needed to ask Nono if there had been any word from Tsunade. When he arrived, dinner preparations were underway. He joined in, to the delight of the younger kids, who cheered at the news that Big Brother Taichi was cooking again. Their excitement seemed to make the whole kitchen livelier. Taichi set aside his impatience and helped with the meal, deciding to enjoy the moment with everyone. After everyone had finished dinner and tidied up, Taichi pulled Nono aside into the office. Big Sister Nono, did we get any word from Lady Tsunade today? Taichi asked directly. No, nothing yet. Nono didn't seem worried. After all, this was nothing new, she'd been through this many times before and was far calmer than Taichi. That's strange, verification should be quick. Why hasn't there been any news? Taichi frowned. But thinking about Tsunade's personality and her recent state, he felt less certain. You don't think Lady Tsunade forgot, do you? Taichi, don't get so anxious. Maybe Lady Tsunade was just held up with something else, Nono reassured him. You're right. I'm just being impatient. This isn't something we can control, right now, all we can do is wait for her reply, Taichi said, forcing himself to calm down. They chatted for a while about his school life, and then Taichi left the orphanage. Before he went, Nono reminded him again not to worry so much. When he got home, Taichi followed his usual routine, he unrolled a scroll and began practicing. Today's focus was the 3 basic ninja techniques. After so many days of groundwork, his chakra control and basic knowledge had reached a decent level, time to move on to actual ninjutsu training, even if it was only the basics. First up, clone technique. Standing still, Taichi felt the chakra flow through his body. Slowly, he formed the seals for the clone, ram, snake, tiger, paying close attention to how each sign shifted his chakra. 7 or 8 slow runs later, he felt ready. His hands moved in a blur, ram. Snake. Tiger, and he called out, "Clone technique." He felt his chakra surge along a set path, then sharply drop. A puff of white smoke appeared beside him, another, Tai Chi, stood there. Yes. First try success. Tai Chi grinned, and the familiar panel notification appeared, / congratulations, you have learned clone technique LV1, 0 out of 100, examining the clone, he spotted plenty of flaws, the most obvious being that it was shorter than him by a fair bit. An obvious giveaway. But for a first attempt, that was fine. With more training, fooling the eye would just be a matter of time. Noting how little chakra the clone consumed, he moved on to transformation technique. Same process, study, test, refine, then ram monkey boar dog snake. A burst of smoke later, Might Guy stood where Tai Chi had been. Next, substitution technique. Ram boar ox dog tiger. The prepared wooden log instantly took on Tai Chi's appearance, while the real Tai Chi could slip away unnoticed. As expected, Tai Chi thought with satisfaction, he really did have a knack for ninjutsu. All three basic techniques had clicked on the first try. From here, it was just a matter of refining them. Feeling his chakra, he saw it had only dropped slightly and was already recovering, perfect for more practice. Status name, Matsushita Taichi Profession, Ninja Apprentice LV2, 184/200, Talents, Diligence makes up for lack of talent, Scholar Age, 6 Constitution, 10 Strength, 11 Agility, 10 Spirit, 18 Chakra, 785/4200 Attribute Points, 5 Skill Points, 5 Skills, Basic Taijutsu LV6, 465/1000, Basic Meditation LV6, 895/1000, Chakra Refinement LV2, 145/200, Ninja Tool Throwing LV3, 35/400, Transformation Technique LV1, 15/100, Clone Technique LV1, 12/100, Substitution Technique LV1, 16/100, Evaluation, you've learned the 3 basic techniques. Congratulations, you're now a standard-issue battlefield cannon fodder. Looking at the plain but steadily improving panel, Tai Chi could almost see himself growing stronger. Excitement bubbled in his chest, and fresh energy surged through his body, driving him to keep training. Time flowed like water, in the blink of an eye, a week had passed. During this period, Tai Chi stopped worrying about Tsunade. Everything would happen naturally, after all, someone like her wasn't a person you could just meet whenever you wanted. That ambush at the door stunt he pulled before was a one-time thing, try it too often and it'd only get annoying. They weren't exactly close friends, after all. With that concern set aside, Tai Chi settled into a steady routine, up at 5 a.m. every morning for training, sometimes with Might Guy, sometimes with Kakashi, and occasionally all three would meet up for a session. Then home for breakfast and tidying up before heading to the Ninja Academy at 8. After classes let out at 4 p.m., he'd regroup with Guy and Kakashi to squeeze every drop of stamina out at the training grounds. If possible, Shizun would join them, sometimes Rin and Obito would show up too, thanks to Kakashi. At 6:30 p.m., it was home again for dinner and rest, followed by personal evening drills, mainly the 3 basic techniques, plus fundamental taijutsu and meditation practice. Tai Chi's days were plain yet fulfilling, his training relentless, repetitive, and stubbornly consistent. And the results showed, compared to a week ago, he was practically a different person. He was confident he could absolutely thrash the old version of himself. He could now use throwing weapons fluidly in combat, and even slip into 3 basic techniques at opportune moments. His rapid progress left his friend stunned more than once, and even drew Yamada-sensei into a light sparring match, followed by the inevitable post-fight report. Current status, name, Matsushita Taichi Profession, Ninja Apprentice LV, 3, 324/400, Talents, Diligence makes up for lack of talent, Scholar Age, 6 Constitution, 11 Strength, 12 Agility, 11 Spirit, 19 Chakra, 2000, Max, 4600, Attribute Points, 6 Skill Points, 6 skills, basic taijutsu LV, 7. 537/1200, basic meditation LV, 7. 684/1200, chakra refinement LV, 6. 345/1000, throwing weapons LV, 5. 463/800, transformation jutsu LV, 4. 13/600, clone jutsu LV, 4. 462/600, substitution jutsu LV, 4. 534/600, evaluation. You're now a slightly bigger cannon fodder, but still cannon fodder. Tai Chi had long grown used to the panel's sarcastic commentary and treated it like background noise. What mattered were his steadily rising stats and skills. Every time he looked at his panel, he felt the road ahead shining bright. Konoha Hospital, office. After skipping work for several days, Tsunade finally remembered she still technically had a job here. For once not slacking off, she entered her office, only to spot a small bottle placed right in the center of her desk. That's when she remembered a promise she'd made to a certain someone. Luckily for Tai Chi, he'd been smart when bottling the Allison, using a brown light-proof vial to reduce degradation, and the current early spring temperature was cool enough to preserve it. Otherwise, after so long, the contents would have already lost their potency. Picking up the bottle, Tsunade uncorked it and cautiously sniffed it. The strange scent revealed nothing to her, so she decided to head straight to the lab, where the hospital's equipment far outclassed anything Tai Chi had at home. After sterilizing her hands, she took a common bacterial sample from the fridge and placed it under the microscope. Good, all healthy. She then drew a small drop of the miracle medicine from the vial and dripped it onto the sample. Peering back into the microscope, her eyes widened. Within moments, every bacterium in its path had lost vitality and stopped moving. The effect was so potent, Tsunade could hardly believe it. For the next several hours, she tested the substance on every bacterial strain she could find. The results were consistent. It killed most common bacteria with exceptional efficiency. If this could be refined into a formal medicine, it would drastically reduce infection-related deaths both in daily life and, more importantly, on the battlefield. Even in Konoha, medical nin were in short supply despite her years of pushing for the program. On the battlefield, their chakra reserves were limited and had to be used on the most valuable cases, leaving the majority of injured to conventional treatment, which meant heavy reliance on medicine. The most common battlefield injuries were blade wounds, and antibacterial agents were crucial. But Konoha's current stock was barely adequate for mild cases, and near useless for anything more serious. If they had this miracle medicine, countless ninja lives could be saved. Realizing the implications, Tsunade quickly cleaned up the lab, erased all traces of her tests, grabbed the remaining vial, and rushed straight to the Hokage's office. Hokage's office. Bang. The door flew open. Inside, 3 pairs of eyes turned toward the source of the noise, Tsunade, lowering her foot after kicking the door in, striding forward in a rush. "Old man! Look what I brought you," she called. "Lord Hokage, we'll take our leave," one of the 2 jonin in the room said. "All right, Jonin Murata, Jonin Ikeshida, you may go," Sarutobi Hiruzen replied. Once they left, he looked at Tsunade. "What is it now? You keep this up and I'll have to replace the door again." Tsunade didn't answer, just glanced around the room. Understanding, Hiruzen made a quick hand signal. A faint rustle sounded from all directions. "Now," he said, "you can speak." Tsunade set the small vial on Hiruzen Sarutobi's desk. She began by explaining everything about Yakushi no and Matsushita Tai Chi, then detailed her tests on the medicine, along with its potential applications and value. "You're saying this miracle medicine was discovered by a boy named Matsushita Tai Chi?" "Right. What, old man, you know him too?" Tsunade tilted her head in mild surprise. Hiruzen gave a faint nod. "Yes. I've been hearing his name often lately. A prodigy in this year's academy intake, perhaps another talent like Minato." "Oh. You rate him that highly?" The third Hokage glanced at her but didn't answer. Tsunade arched a brow. Well, the drug really is as good as I said. Even in its current unfinished state, its potency is over 5 times greater than any similar medicine on the market. Once refined into a finished product, it'll be even stronger. You mentioned they want to cooperate with the village under the joint name of the orphanage and that child? Hiruzen asked. That's right. I checked the orphanage records before coming here. Her expression turned serious. The orphanage hasn't received much funding from the village for the past 2 years. They've been surviving mostly on mission rewards earned by the headmistress, Yakushi no. A sigh escaped Hiruzen's lips. Ha! It seems I've been a poor Hokage. Regret lined his face. Tsunade wasn't moved, she'd long grown used to this performance. If her teacher had been half as decisive as her granduncle, Danzo's schemes would never have gotten so far. So, how do you want to handle the cooperation? She asked impatiently. Like this, give them a lump sum and some shares. Be generous with the money, say, 20 million ryo. As for shares, not too much, they can't protect a large stake right now. Seeing that the arrangement was fair enough, Tsunade didn't argue. She simply turned on her heel, tossing over her shoulder, I'll go tell them, and strode out. Left alone, Hiruzen picked up the small vial and gazed at it in thought. His mind drifted to scenes he'd recently watched through his telescope technique, moments of a boy training diligently at the academy. A good child, outside, Tsunade made her way to the orphanage and found Yakushi no. When she delivered the news, Nono finally let out a long breath, her face brightening. She'd been quietly worrying that the deal might fall through after all this time. After discussing arrangements for the orphanage, the 2 women headed straight for Taichi's home.
Thank you all for listening and joining this journey into a world where strength is earned and destiny is challenged. Our hero's story is just beginning, filled with struggles, growth, and the relentless pursuit of power against all odds. If you enjoyed this chapter and want to follow along as the adventure unfolds, be sure to visit patreon.com/mv1717 for exclusive content and early access. Until next time, stay determined and keep believing that no matter how weak you start, hard work can change everything. See you in the next chapter.